Coming up on AI in the Classroom, we're starting a new series about world language and AI. Hi, I'm Guy Trainin, and I'm a professor at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln.
I'm Krista Liu. I'm the World Language Specialist at Nebraska Department of Education.
And this is our first episode in a mini-series around teaching world language with AI, or despite AI, or even though AI, whatever connection you want to choose. So you just had recently professional learning with teachers where you were discussing AI. Tell me a little bit about how it went.
Okay, I know at the end of the semester, teachers like, oh, we are done. And then I start to introduce AI. So we run into a very interesting situation. They want to know about AI. At the same time, they worry about, okay, my students will cheat with AI and it does not help. Why do we use AI? So my response is, okay, no matter we like it or not,
AI is here.
yeah, it is here. And our students will use it.
Yes.
Whether you allow it or not, they will use it. So let's get prepared.
And one of the things that when I heard you tell the story, one of the things that immediately emerged in my mind is that teachers are really, especially at this time of year, we're shooting this in May, teachers have just finished or just getting ready to finish. They are exhausted. They have had kids all year. They have maybe started seeing AI creep into students' work and they're frustrated with it. And so all of that emotion is there. And so we understand that. And remember, and Dan reminded us of this is why we do this podcast, is to talk through these issues and to suggest some ideas in a measured way without getting overwhelmed. That's why the videos are short, and that's why we're trying to digest some of that and give you from our accumulated knowledge and experience, but also from everything we're seeing around. So how are you seeing teachers react, besides just saying, we're upset and kids are going to cheat? Because that is true, that is a concern, but it can't be the only thing out there.
Yeah, and also some teachers are saying, okay, even if I use AI, it is not doing the thing I want AI to do. Mm-hmm. I want my students to engage in conversation like that, but sometimes students will be so creative. They'll put in different things, and then which will actually lead the conversation astray.
Yes.
So
really the pattern I'm seeing, and tell me if you're seeing the same pattern. Some teachers just don't want to talk about it. They don't want to discuss it. Maybe they want a little bit to complain and say they're going to cheat. Again, it is not a functional response, but it is very much an understood response. That is, if you've been teaching for a while and you have all of your materials and you finally know what you're doing, or you've known for a while, and now something comes up and upends it all, that's a real challenge for a teacher, because I'm like, I just figured this all out, and now you tell me there's this new thing out there that is going to change everything. And that is disruptive, and so people are going to have some emotions about it. Other teachers that we're seeing are really embracing it. They're like, give me more. I want to try this. I want to play with that. I want to do this. Now, that's a very small group. We're finding it around 10% of our instructors, even at the university levels, are like that.
yes.
And then there's a group in the middle who is playing a little bit, trying a few things, wondering about what to do. That's that middle group. And I think that for us, as people who do professional learning, that middle group is probably the most interesting group.
Yes.
The people who resist will eventually get along, just because, as you just said, it's coming.
Yes.
Nobody is asking us as educators, is this smart? Is this not smart? Should we do this? How should we best do this? There's some efforts around that. But, like Kamigo is a really good example of that. But in general, AI is coming. So the question is, what do we do about it? So what are some of your ideas? Just so we get a sense of what we're going to see in the rest of this series.
Yeah, as world language teachers, first we have to be prepared. Mm-hmm. That's my first suggestion. So let's explore. And, if our students are using AI, no matter what, let's figure out together. Let's teach them how to use AI in a decent way, because we want them to be decent, digital citizens. They use things in an honest way.
Yes, in an ethical way. Absolutely.
Yes.
So really talking through the ethics, and the ethics can't just be don't use it. Because of two things. One is there's no guarantee they're not going to use it. I mean,
Yeah.
talking about ethics does not always make people more ethical. But also, I think that it is very important to really think about how do we teach our kids about the limitations of AI, what it can't do very well.
Yeah, and also I want my students also to understand, yes, we can use AI, but I want this piece of work as your work with AI help. I want it is still in Daniel's voice, as has Daniel's emotions. And it has Daniel's nuances of explanation instead of the AI writing the perfect piece, not allowing me to see Daniel.
And that's where I love thinking about the inverted U of AI usability. And what we're learning from research, and this is research, but we're also seeing it in the field, and that is that AI is most useful for people with some knowledge. When you're truly a novice or an expert, AI is not going to help you a lot. Because when you're a novice, you can use AI, but you can't evaluate the quality, nor can you really learn from it, right? Because I don't know any Mandarin, right? I can ask AI to write me a message in Mandarin. If it does, I will not learn anything. And if it does it badly, I will not know. So as a novice, that doesn't work for me. And if I'm an expert, if I'm a fluent speaker of Mandarin and I read and write in it every day, then I really don't need AI much. It can help me make things faster, but it really is not going to teach me anything because I already know it. The people where it helps is, if you think about it as the inverted U, is the people who are in the middle, right? That have some knowledge, and with the help of AI, they can learn a little bit more, or they can go, oh, that's how you do this. And I always go back to simple things like Grammarly taught me where to put a comma in many cases because I saw it repeatedly being fixed. And now I'm like, oh, that's where you put it. And now I know where to put at least some of my commas, not all of them, because me and commas don't get along. I don't know. You can judge me, but that's how it is. And so that's something I think about. What are some other things we're going to talk about in this series?
We are going to show how we can use some specific AI tools to facilitate learning. So a lot of times teachers I have to say, we overwork a lot of times. And AI can help us save some time and give individual feedback without, staying late at night. We want to care about students, but we also want to care about ourselves. AI can be that help.
Tool that lessens the work. Now, I do want to say, right, that some researchers have said this in some ways is problematic use of AI, not because it's wrong, but because it hides the problem. And the problem is we're overworking teachers and we have an expectation of a lot of work outside of the school day. And that is something that, considering how much teachers are paid and how the system works, that might actually facilitate putting more pressure on teachers. So that's something we need to be aware of and we need to say. But on the other hand, when I talk to a teacher who's already overworked and tell them, here's a tool that can help you a little bit, that's powerful. So what else are we going to see?
And we're going to see how students can interact with AI and actually turn what teachers call cheating into learning.
Oh, excellent. I love that topic. I'm eager to learn about that. How do we take that idea of I'm cheating and turn it into actually a tutoring, a learning opportunity? Okay.
And also, I want to help all the teachers understand we don't need to know everything about AI. We can learn with the students, we can explore together. Student-centered learning environment. Teachers are facilitators, not, expert or provider of all the knowledge. We can facilitate learning, and that is the best way. to teach in the age of AI.
And that, of course, has something to do with the fact that some schools allow access to AI and some schools don't. So it really depends on your school system. And please, before you choose to engage with AI with students, make sure that it is allowed and permitted within your school system so nobody gets in trouble. That being said, we all know that kids are going home and they have access to whatever they have access. And one of the things that is very different about AI from the previous technologies, and that is AI is available in any browser, anywhere, whether it's a phone or a computer or the library or wherever they're going. So yes, school systems can block it and even put ethical constraints on it, but that doesn't mean kids are not going home and using them. All right, so we have an exciting series that we're going to do around Language Learner, and we'll see you next time on AI in the Classroom.
Thank you.